好，各位行业同仁，大家下午好，我是金麦斯环境学院的金耀辉，今天很高兴主持此次公益论坛，因为今天是腊八节，也在这里祝大家身体健康啊，工作顺利。那么随着这个腊八的到来，我们都说过了腊八，慢慢就踏入年关了。那我们也进入新的一年啊。那新的一年里啊，我们也经历了很多像新冠病毒这些挑战。那么我们随着近年来那个国际的清洁服务的一些管理标准也引入国内以及我们去年爆发的这个疫情直到今天全球的这个疫情的形势还非常严峻。我们也知道外包清洁服务呢，在这个疫情当中在疫情的这个爆发，是整个物业清洁消毒这个专业性被提上了价值重塑的一个高度。外包的清洁消毒等专业服务的创新和战略发展，在我们的业内也是讨论非常激烈。到底清洁行业的专业化，我们公司如何发展？我们的专业性，我们的清洁，我们的消毒流程，以及我们对人员的保护，以及对所有用户的这个教育，我们如何来进行促进？这些所有的议题都提上了一些高度。那对于我们外包的清洁服务公司，如何走集约化的发展道路，以及如何和我们的客户物业公司进行合作，那也是我们讨论的一个热点。如何通过创新和强联合，我们走中国特色的这个设施服务物业服务外包的发展路径呢？那这个也是我们一直在探讨的一个问题。为了回答上述问题呢，就是在新年来临之际，我们也非常有幸的联合绿色清洁联盟Green Clean Network， 还有ISSA 国际清洁卫生行业协会，以及我们这次有幸得到了三个国际公司的大力支持，分别是坦能集团那个德国德贝西，还有日本的四本清洁集团。另外我们非常感谢这次CCE 上海清洁技术与设备的博览会的平台来提供这次直播的这个平台给大家分享。那么基于我们在整个清洁服务行业的发展，那我们如何进行正确的清洁和消毒？我们清洁服务公司未来如何进行战略发展？还有我们国际清洁行业的管理标准，我们的服务标准，我们的消毒各方面的标准，我们如何进行进一步深化的落地？今天我们也非常有幸的请到了3位嘉宾给大家分享，分别是绿色清洁之父阿西金先生，还有美国的物业服务外包服务商协会的前主席保罗·戈丁兰先生，还有我们 ISSA 大中华区的负责人周康先生，今天给大家分享。那么在分享之前呢，非常再次感谢三个特约支持单位坦能、德贝西还有日本四本集团。那么尤其是坦能集团对我们活动一直支持的力度很大。那么在我们正式的直播开始之前，我们先放一下坦能集团的这个公司的短片，请大家欣赏一下。
proud to say I've been a tenant employee for almost 1/3 of its 150 years. Happy 150th anniversary.
It has been fantastic to participate so far for over 10% of this great tenant journey. Looking forward for a lot more to go. From Brazil to Minneapolis, from alpha tenant to tenant, and happy 150th anniversary.
Still going strong. Happy 150th, tenant.
After 150 years, Tenant still delivers the ultimate customer experience, continuously being innovative to enhance the current and future needs for our customers. Congratulations.
Happy anniversary to Tenant.
Not everyone can say they're part of an organization that's been around this long. So proud to be a tenant. We've had the best products for more than a century. Happy 150th anniversary.
Building quality into our products for 150 years. Happy anniversary, tenant.
Happy 50 year for Uden as part of the Tenant company, and happy 150 year anniversary for Tenant as a global company.
Happy 150th Tenant Company. It was on this day, September 18, 1870, that George Tenant first opened his doors. I could not be more proud of the legacy created by George Tenant and our many achievements over the years. But of course, none of this would have been possible without generations of smart, dedicated, and caring employees like all of you. Congratulations, Tenant Company. Well done.
那上面就是我们非常感谢汉能集团对这次活动的特别支持。那么下面我们就直接进入我们今天的研讨会的环节。第一位呢，我们邀请到了史蒂文·阿希金先生。史蒂文·阿希金先生呢，作为金麦斯环境学院的荣誉院长，也是绿色清洁之父。同时担任绿色清洁联盟的主席，以及绿色体育联盟常务理事，美国健康学校运动的理事，还有美国绿色委员会的创始专家 USDBC， 同时也担任了 Lead Well 绿色健康楼宇的环境专家。另外呢，阿希金先生在其40多年清洁行业的这个从业经历里面，也出版过3本书，发表过1000多篇的文章。那么今天呢，他分享的题目就是美国防疫清洁消毒清洁服务的这个消毒服务管理的最佳实践。现在美国的行业领导者他们是怎么做的，也给大家做一个分享。那么下面有请史蒂文·阿希金先生给大家分享。
Hello, I'm Steve Ashkin. I'll be your host today for this discussion on how leaders in the United States are cleaning and disinfecting for COVID-19. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you find this to be helpful to you. This program is being presented by the Green Cleaning Network, and our mission is to create a global green cleaning movement that promotes cleaning as a cost-effective health strategy while minimizing harmful impacts on the environment. Our programs consider the needs of local markets like those in China, including cost and technical issues because we want to minimize barriers, especially for small and mid-sized companies. To create our programs, we believe it's important to engage our partners, to be transparent about our work, to focus on continual improvement, and a commitment to protecting health and the environment are all keys to our success. We do, in fact, hope you'll join us, as we really not only want to bring the lessons we have learned to China, but so that you can share your lessons learned with the rest of the world. I'm Steve Ashkin. I'm the founder and executive director of the Green Cleaning Network. I've spent over 40 years in the cleaning industry. I've written 4 books. I've published over 1,000 magazine articles. And specific to COVID-19, I've worked with the U.S. labor unions and the cleaning contractors associations to develop training programs specific to COVID-19. So we've really put in a lot of time and effort into not just effectively developing programs for COVID-19, but also doing so while focusing on protecting worker health, building occupant health, and reducing negative impacts on the environment. Our agenda today is to share with you the lessons that we've learned in the US, focusing on these 5 areas: product selection, procedures on cleaning and disinfection, protection for cleaning personnel, training of cleaning personnel, and finally, occupant education. So let's begin. The first thing that we've learned about the SARS-CoV-2 virus is that it's actually very fragile to cleaners and disinfectants. The virus itself is surrounded by a lipid shell, which is just grease. So our cleaners have been very effective at inactivating the virus. The key, of course, is to make sure that the products are being used correctly. In the United States, based on government regulations, we have a series of approved disinfectants. And we promote these because from a liability perspective, it's not only important to inactivate the virus, but to make sure we're following all the appropriate government guidelines. The thing again to understand is that disinfectants vary enormously, not only about the organisms that they're approved to kill, but also relative to the contact and dwell time, which is the amount of time the ingredients, the chemicals, have to be on the surface to inactivate the virus. And this can range from 30 seconds all the way to 10 minutes. So based on what you're trying to clean, it's important to select a disinfectant that will work within the cleaning parameters, the amount of time, the frequencies that you have available to you. But beyond the disinfectants, there's also opportunities to green other products that you're selecting. This includes your hand soaps. We know that hand washing is one of the most valuable and important things we can do to protect health. In the United States, what we're really trying to promote is that we wash hands thoroughly with soap and water to make sure that we're washing not just the palms of the hands, but that we're washing the backs of the hands, we're washing the individual fingers, we're washing the knuckles, we're washing the fingertips. We want to make sure we're doing a thorough job washing hands, and a high quality hand soap really can contribute to people taking the time to wash their hands. We also know that when soap and water is not available, that using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer can also be helpful to reduce this transmission of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. In addition, we have opportunities to think about all the products that we're using when we're cleaning, because when we're cleaning, we're not just focused on the SARS-CoV-2 virus. So we want to think about the glass cleaners and the floor cleaners and all the products to look for opportunities to find cost-effective and performance effective products that minimize impacts on our workers and the building occupants, as well as on the environment. Beyond the chemicals, though, you'll be making decisions about the powered equipment that you're using, such as vacuum cleaners, to make sure that they're effectively capturing the particles that they're sucking up from the carpets. We want to make sure we're thinking about the paper products and encouraging people to use paper, toilet paper, and paper hand towels that are made with post-consumer recycled content, that the plastic trash can liners that we're using also have post-consumer recycled content, and that all the other products that we look for opportunities to use the newest, most modern, and least environmentally harmful products out there, because the products you select send a clear message to your industry about what you think is appropriate, what you think is important. So look for ones that, of course, are cost-effective and perform well, but further reduce impacts on human health and the environment. The second issue that we're dealing with is thinking about the procedures on cleaning and disinfection. In the US, our federal government, the Center for Disease Control, CDC, and the US Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, have developed guidelines on cleaning and disinfecting for COVID-19. So the programs that we recommend all have to be consistent with our government requirements. And I'm sure the same is true in China as well. So make sure you're following your government's requirements. But one of the other things beyond just the requirements is the need to focus our resources on the surfaces that have the greatest impact to protect occupant health. To that point, we want to focus on high-touch surfaces. Those high-touch surfaces are the things that multiple people are touching throughout the day. So for example, if we have a light switch, but it's a light switch in an office that is never used or is only touched by one person, that is not a high-touch surface. We literally are talking about surfaces that multiple people touch. So a light switch in a busy room where many people are turning on and off lights, or a door handle where many people are touching throughout the day, or elevator buttons, those are the things that we need to focus on, as well as on other surfaces, especially those in food processing areas and in break rooms and in bathrooms, where we know that there can be a significant transmission of the virus. The other thing that we're thinking about and learning about is the importance of cleaning and disinfecting frequencies. So what we want to really understand is, what are the objects, what are the surfaces that really need to be cleaned and disinfected? And if there's times of the day and frequencies that can be implemented on those specific surfaces to best protect people's health. So for example, if the elevators are being used between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. in the morning and at 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon, then that's when we should be disinfecting the elevator buttons and not worry so much about them throughout the day. Same thing is true in food areas and in other places, to really think about when the surfaces are actually being touched, when are conference rooms really being used. These are the considerations that we're thinking about so that we can focus our resources to be cost effective and maximize the opportunity to protect health. And one of the other things that we've learned in the US is the importance of testing our surfaces. Far too much in the US, we rely on visual appearance of cleanliness. And what we're learning from COVID-19 is that it's really the things that we cannot see that can really harm our health. So we want to make sure that we're using new technology like you see in the picture here, which can actually measure the amount of soils on a surface to make sure that we're cleaning them thoroughly. And these devices can also be used to identify which surfaces are being touched and present the greatest risk to the occupants in the building. So this issue of testing and quantitatively measuring soils on surfaces is something that I believe will really be expanding in the US, even when COVID-19 is behind us. These devices are reasonably inexpensive, and they really are helpful to make sure we're doing the right job. So now that we've thought about the products we're selecting and the processes that we want to use, the next issue we've learned is how important it is to protect our frontline workers. So part of it is to make sure that we're providing them and teaching them how to use the right personal protective equipment. And in this case, because the SARS-CoV-2 virus is primarily transmitted through inhalation, right? We breathe it in. It's really not from touching surfaces, but from inhalation. So it's important to wear face coverings. And what we've also been teaching workers in the US is to make sure they're wearing their face coverings, not just while they're on the job, but especially when they're traveling from their homes to work, and then at the end of the day, from work back to their homes, especially when they're taking public transportation and maybe seating on crowded buses or crowded subways or trains. So we want to make sure that we're protecting our workers and that they understand the options that they have available to them to protect their health. But beyond the use of personal protective equipment, we're also recognizing in the United States that the vast majority of injuries to our workers is from ergonomics, from bending over that ends up hurting our backs, or pushing a heavy vacuum cleaner all day, or doing other activities that can hurt our backs, shoulders, knees, and other parts of our bodies. And oftentimes, by just understanding and observing what the problems are, we can provide training to our workers. We can provide better tools, for example, longer handles on toilet swabs so the workers don't have to bend down so much, that we can change the weight of the trash in a trash can so it's not as physically difficult to pull the bags out of the trash cans and then throw them into the dumpsters. So we really want to think about ways to really protect our workers' health, because if their back is hurting, it makes them less effective at doing their job. They'll work slower, they won't perhaps do as quality of a job. So it's important from the perspective of not just protecting their health, but also understanding that if they're feeling better, they're feeling healthier, then they're going to do a better job as well. So once we've selected the products, we've identified the procedures we want to use in all the different areas, how we want to clean bathrooms, how we want to clean break rooms, how we're going to do floor maintenance, etc. We've looked at how we want to protect our workers. The next part is putting it all together and training them on the products and processes and the protection that they need. Of course, for SARS-CoV-2, the COVID-19 virus, we definitely have to train our workers how to use those disinfectants properly. As I mentioned in the section on product selection, our disinfectants range from requiring only 30 seconds to work all the way to requiring 10 minutes. So depending on the disinfectant that we're using, we want to build our processes, our training of our workers to most efficiently use the time while allowing the chemicals to do their job. And what we've also seen this year from the COVID-19 is the use of sprayers and foggers and other devices to really quickly apply disinfectants to wide areas. And the thing that we've also learned about these sprayers is that in addition to making sure that we're protecting worker health, and you'll notice in my picture that this frontline worker is not wearing a face covering, we need to make sure that we're teaching them to do the right thing and that they know what's going on so they will make the right decisions for protecting their health. But beyond that, all of these devices, the sprayers, the electrostatic sprayers, in the United States, first we have to make sure that the disinfectant is actually approved to be using by that type of applicator. The other thing to understand is these tools, these sprayers are in fact just one part of the disinfecting process. They are literally just applicators. And in some cases, if there's a lot of soil on the surface actually has to be pre-cleaned before the disinfectant can be applied. Even once we've applied the disinfectant, we have to make sure there's enough solution on the surface so it can remain wet throughout the entire contact time that the disinfectant requires for the chemicals to actually work. And then at the end of the process, we still may need to wipe the surface dry. So we have to train our frontline workers to make sure they're properly using the disinfectant, the applicators and other tools to do the job correctly. Again, we want to make sure we're training the personnel on how to use their personal protective equipment. And we also in the United States have used this as an opportunity to make sure our frontline workers understand the basics of infection control and prevention. These workers are making a lot of decisions on their own. So understanding how the viruses are transmitted, how they can expose people in the environment, these are all things that help them make more informed decisions so they too can decide which high-touch surfaces to focus on when they should do it to best protect occupant health. And finally, there's an issue of occupant education. We have learned in the US that sometimes occupants are really messy. They have files on the floor, they have boxes on the floor, they have papers on every part of their desk. And oftentimes they even prevent us from coming in and cleaning. What we've learned is for us to have a healthy building, we really need the occupants to participate in keeping the building clean. And this is true whether it's an office building or a school. While we don't need the workers to do cleaning and disinfecting activities, but we do need them to pick up after themselves so that we can come in and appropriately clean and disinfect. But beyond that, it's important for us to understand that many building occupants are concerned that the building is safe for them to return to. And so it's important for us to communicate to the occupants about what has been done and to reassure them that cleaning and disinfecting is actually taken place. And so on the screen, you see a number of examples that you can easily use to help promote and demonstrate to the occupants what's been done. The document on the right is a simple form that just the frontline worker would sign the date, the time that they disinfected and initialed it. And oftentimes we see these on the back of a door in a restroom. But we've now expanded the use of this document to lots of areas where multiple people are using the facility, in conference rooms, in break rooms, and in other areas, so that they can easily tell that the room had actually been cleaned and disinfected, even though they did not see a cleaning person doing that. In the middle, you see a door hanger that in the US we see in many hotels, but the same concept can be used in offices and other areas. And of course, they can be customized. They don't have to say this is Elite Hotel, but it really can just simply say, we cleaned and disinfected your area today. Again, to give reassurance to the occupants that the building is safe and that we care about their health. And then finally, you see the little tent card on the left-hand side. And these are inexpensive, easy to use, to put them on break room tables, to put them in restaurants, just so that people know that the area has been disinfected and cleaned for them. And you notice that we clearly state what to do, a phone number, or how to contact facility management in case there is an issue. So we really want to get occupants to participate, but the goal here is to make sure we reassure them that the building has been cleaned and disinfected and that we are properly protecting their health. And with that, I hope you found this short presentation to be of interest and value to you. We know that COVID-19 is coming to an end shortly, and we do hope that many of the lessons we learned about product selection, about selecting the right procedures, about using personal protective equipment to train or protect our workers, to make sure that we're educating our occupants and doing all the things necessary to really create healthy, high-performing buildings that minimize negative impacts on the environment. And with that, I hope you'll think about joining the Green Cleaning Network, and together we really can create a cleaner, safer, and healthier world. Thank you very much. To really create healthy, high-performing buildings, minimize negative impacts on the environment.
好，我们非常感谢阿西金先生，从5个方面对于现在在美国清洁防疫的这个做法啊，那么这个从清洁的流程、消毒的流程，产品的选择，对于清洁人员的保护，对清洁人员的培训，以及建筑用户的沟通。当然也有几个点啊，也提了一些建议，就是我们在做清洁消毒的时候，我们的关注点在什么地方？因为在疫情期间，我们有很多工作要做，那我们的重点工作在什么地方？我们的优先事项是哪些？以及对于高频接触点的一个定义，那最重要就是对我们一线人员，我们培训也好。对他们的保护要切实的做到位啊。另外就是要加强对建筑用户的沟通，只有这样啊，我们才能够把我们的清洁消毒服务做好，对用户服务。行，再次感谢阿西先生的分享。大家有什么问题呢？可以在直播间里面发出来，当然也可以在我们的直播群里面提出来，我们随后统一做一些回复。另外补充一点，刚才呢，我们特约支持坦能，在直播期间也推出了一个特惠活动。坦能大家都知道有一款 CS5 的迷你的洗地机啊，我刚才把那个链接也发在咱们直播间，在直播群里面也有，大家感兴趣的话可以看一下这个坦能的产品，仅限3天啊，这个是特价活动，全国仅限8台机器，大家可以关注一下。行，再次感谢阿西金先生。那么接下来呢，我们介绍一下我们第2个特约赞助的合作伙伴，德国的德贝喜。我相信各位观众有些可能对德贝喜有些了解啊，那么再次感谢支持。那下面请大家欣赏一篇德贝喜公司和产品的短片，走进德贝喜更深入的了解一下。好，大家有请看短片。
Dr. Becher ist der Markenhersteller für Reinigungs-, Pflege- und Desinfektionsprodukte für die Gastronomie. Wir haben in unseren 4 Markensortimentsbereichen heute mehr als 300 Produkte. Wenn wir die Auslandsversionen hinzuzählen, kommen wir auf eine Komplexität von ungefähr 1700 Produkten, die wir an den Standorten Hannover und Seelze fertigen. Die meisten Produkte habe ich selber ausprobiert und arbeite selber damit. Warum? Weil ich selber das Erlebnis haben möchte, welche positiven Leistungen das Produkt hat und weil es einfach Spaß macht, neue Dinge auszuprobieren. Mein Name ist Jörg Pfund. Ich bin Geschäftsführer und Inhaber der Dr. Becher Gruppe hier in Seelze und Hannover. Jeder Unternehmer, der Lebensmittel verarbeitet, ist heute gesetzlich verpflichtet, ein Hygienekonzept aufzustellen und zu unterhalten. Gerade in der Gastronomie ist das oft aus Zeitgründen ein großes Problem. Deshalb haben wir, Dr. Becher, uns eine Lösung für diesen Bereich einfallen lassen mit unserem Produkt Puravia. Mit Puravia erstellen unsere Mitarbeiter das individuelle Hygienekonzept für den Betrieb, für den Standort, arbeiten die betriebsspezifischen kritischen Kontrollpunkte heraus, erstellen sämtliche Checklisten im Bereich der Temperaturkontrolle, Wareneingangskontrolle. Wir haben eine Mitarbeiterschulung integriert, denn jeder Gastronom ist verpflichtet, seine Mitarbeiter einmal jährlich in Personalhygiene und Hygiene zu schulen. Das Produkt ist in den letzten 3 Jahren von Dr. Becher im Haus entwickelt worden und wir haben seit 2 Jahren eine Empfehlung des Bundesverbandes der Lebensmittelkontrolleure für das Produkt, die es eingehend geprüft haben und sachlich und fachlich für gut und richtig befunden haben.
好，再次感谢德国德贝西对本次网络研讨会的特约支持。补充一点，因为我们这次刚才阿西金先生在讲，我们在提倡要做绿色清洁和绿色的消毒。所以说德贝西的产品因为源自德国是这个高端品质的。德贝西的从清洁药剂， 还有这个异味的处理解决方案，包含废弃物的一些解决方案，我也是亲身体验，确实会解决很多行业遇到的一些技术方面的问题。那我把链接也发到我们的直播间里面，大家可以对德贝西可以更这个详细的了解一下。那么同时直播期间，德贝西的产品也有特惠的活动，大家可以在这个链接里面进行订购和信息的登记。再次感谢德贝西。接下来呢，那我们非常荣幸的邀请到美国的物业服务外包商协会的前主席保罗·格林兰先生。格林兰先生之前也来到中国2次，当时是我接待的。那么给格林兰先生沟通了很多次，他也非常希望能够来助力中国外包的保洁服务企业、物业服务企业的发展。另外，保罗先生呢，现在担任 GMI 综合设施服务管理公司的负责营销和销售的副总裁。另外，之前他自己有一家家族企业，之前通过兼并收购的方式卖给了意大利的一家大型的设施服务公司。那么，格雷兰先生从业就是外包做服务的管理、高级运营，已经做了35年，也是行业里面从服务运营管理角度有很多的经验给大家分享。那么同时也有幸的，我们金麦斯环境学院邀请到格雷兰先生做我们的高级顾问。那下面呢，我们就有请格雷兰先生分享，就是外包物业服务企业如何通过创新，如何促进自己的这个品牌营销这个策略，促进企业的快速发展，包含我们现在比较热门的如何进行通过兼并收购的策略来促进企业的快速发展。下面有请格连兰先生和大家分享。
Good day, and welcome from Los Angeles, California, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm Paul Greenland, Certified Building Service Executive, and I'm the Managing Partner of Only Best Practices Consulting, a sales, marketing, and consulting operations consulting firm with over 35 years of experience in the contract services industry. In addition to OBP, I serve as the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for GMI Integrated Facility Solutions, a $50 million Southern California-based integrated facility solutions company specializing in contract janitorial and contract security guard services. Currently, GMI services over 3 million square meters of space, and we employ over 1,500 people. Today's topics, we're going to cover 6 or 7 opportunities for our future webinar. Today we're going to be discussing the following topics: services innovations, marketing, market research and branding, sales, revenue generation, executive leadership, market share growth, and mergers and acquisitions. So let's start with services innovations. Building relationships with current clients is the key to long-term prosperity in the contract cleaning and services industry. I liken it to a boat moored at the dock. If you're only providing contract cleaning services, then you only have one connection to the customer. Similarly, if you only have one rope between the dock and the boat, it's not very stable. A heavy wind will come by and potentially blow it off. If you're offering a variety of services, mostly related to cleaning, each different service offering that you have will build another rope between you and the client, between the boat and the dock, enabling it to make a much stronger connection so that you won't have to worry about the rough seas quite as often. At the same time, you become more valuable as a service provider to your customer. If you're offering many services that your competitor doesn't, then it's going to be harder for the customer to replace you with another contractor, or in some cases, many contractors. By the same token, you should be able to be much more competitive in your service delivery pricing, because your overhead should be able to be lower because you're having much higher revenue per customer. Some of the varied services that you could offer are sanitization, carpet cleaning, tile maintenance, landscaping, security guard, employment services, temporary labor, production support, robotics, green cleaning, and recycling, just to name a few. The sky's the limit of different things you could provide services for your existing clients. So let's talk about marketing, market research, and branding. Does anyone know what the definition of marketing is? Well, according to the American Marketing Association in 2017, marketing is the activity, set of institutions, and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. What does that really mean? Well, in short, marketing's job is to warm up the waters for the sales department. Example, turning a cold call, defined as a customer having no connection or in some cases no knowledge about you or your company, into a warm call. In other words, marketing drives sales. Marketing can be put into a few different categories: direct mail campaigns, email campaigns, gifting campaigns, trade shows, search engine optimization, website development. All those things are important. But why do you want to market? Well, we want to gain recognition. When do we want to do marketing? All the time. Everyone in your company can be a marketer of your services. Can't tell you how many new jobs I've gained over the years because a day porter had nice things to say about my company, and the client took that as an opportunity to give us additional business. How much? Well, there's two different types really. There's farming and there's hunting. Farming is the planting of seeds, watering, tending, and growing things in your garden. But you may not eat for some time. In the meantime, you're going to be hungry. So you're going to need to go out and hunt. You're going to go out and have to bring in some new customers as soon as possible. But you need to always be farming to plan for the future and hunting to feed yourselves today. Let's talk a little bit about market research. Market research is the function that links the consumer, the customer, and the public to the marketer through information, used to identify and define the marketing opportunities, problems that exist in the market, generate, refine, and evaluate marketing actions, monitor marketing performance, and improve understanding of marketing as a process. What does all that lead to? Well, it leads to branding and to market research. Market research specifies the information required to address these issues. It designs the method for collecting information and manages and implements the data collection, processes, analyzes the results, and communicates the findings and their implications. Really, it leads to branding. Branding is defined as a term, a design, a symbol, or any other feature that identifies one seller's goods or services as distinct from those of another. ISO brand standards said that brand is an intangible asset. It is the intended use to create distinctive images and associations in the minds of stakeholders, thereby generating economic benefits or value. You already know some of the most valuable brands in the world simply by their name or by their logo. Disney and Coca-Cola, just to name a couple. Let's flip over to sales. Let's talk about customer relationship management. What is a CRM? Well, a CRM is a fully integrated relationship, as the name intends, customer relationship management, from email integration, follow-up projects, documents, email marketing, sales calls, or just plain old relationship management. All these are intended to drive long-term customer retention. We can't grow our businesses if we can't maintain the existing relationships that we have. So, how are we going to use a CRM? Well, there's different varieties we can use. There's Salesforce, HubSpot, Microsoft Dynamics, Pipedrive, and many, many others I'm sure I'm not even aware of. Why do you want to use them? Well, we use them to keep track of all interactions with potential customers. We get to run metrics of successes. Which of our marketing campaigns are successful? Is it email? Is it mail? Is it phone calls? We use the reverse triangle of sales management. What does that mean, the reverse triangle? Well, what it means is that if you need to sell 4 customers per month, and that you are closing 1/3 of all the proposals that you put out, then you need to make sure that you are bidding at least 12 customers per month. If the average contractor keeps the average customer for 3 years, then you need to have enough leads in your pipeline to not only generate those 12 customers you need each month, but 12 every month, or a total of 144 a year. But if the average contractor keeps the average customer 3 years, you need to have 432 prospects minimum in your pipeline. We also use the CRM as a way to drive customer retention by using monthly or weekly inspections. We have to inspect what we expect. We use a QBR as a revenue generator. What is a QBR? It's a quarterly business review. What do we do with those? Well, we review all data important to the client. That could be employee turnover, projects completed, compliments, complaints, or even additional service offerings that we may want to offer to the client that maybe they don't know about. This becomes a great opportunity to have those conversations. Throughout the relationship building, we need to be high, wide, and deep. What does that mean? Well, it means we need to have not only great relationships with our existing customer, but we need to have relationships with his or her boss and his or her subordinates, because you never know when one of them is going to get promoted or when one of them is going to leave and go somewhere else. And wouldn't you like to have the kind of relationship that they either A, take you with them, or B, when they do get promoted at the existing customer, you're able to maintain the relationship. Remember, it's easier to fish in a pond that you know has fish. Since the customer has already bought from you, it should be easier for you to sell them an additional service or a new facility where they move to. So let's talk about the rule of 78s. It's kind of an odd opportunity. We'll talk about rule of 78s for new sales. For instance, if you add a client in January, you get to enjoy the revenue for 12 months. If you add the client in February, you get to enjoy the revenue for 11 months. If you add the client in March, you get to add the client's revenue for 10 months. 12 plus 11 plus 10 plus 9 plus 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 adds up to 78s. That's what the law of 78s creates. So, for instance, if you want to increase your revenue this year by $1 million per year, how are we going to get there? How much do we need to sell? Well, we take the $1 million and we divide it by 78. Hence the law of 78s, which would equal $12,820 each and every month. In other words, we have to sell $12,820.52 minimum every month over the course of a 12-month period if we want to enjoy $1 million of new revenue. It works exactly the same for lost customers, but in reverse. If you budget to lose $500,000 of revenue per year, then the most that you can lose on any given month would be $500,000 divided by 78, or $6,410.25 per month. As long as you are adding new revenue of $12,820 per month and losing less than $6,410 per month, you will be able to meet your goals. Oh, goals. Let's talk about goal setting. Consistency. Making sure that we are doing the new sales every month. You spread risk. If things are going poorly in one area for a variety of reasons, maybe they're doing well elsewhere. So you're really spreading your risk of opportunities. One of the best ways to grow, quickest ways to grow, will be through mergers and acquisitions. Why would you want to grow through a merger? Well, some of the same reasons you would want to grow your business through sales. New market share, open new territories. You could pick up some subject matter experts by buying a new company You buy some knowledge that you may not have. And conversely, you may also pick up some new service offerings, some new services that you don't normally provide or don't know how to provide. By buying those companies, all of a sudden you've moved yourself into a whole new category. It is the quickest way to grow, but it can be costly. That's all I have for today. Again, this was just a brief overview of everything that we were going to be talking about in the upcoming seminars. Please email me if you have any questions. My email is pbgaetnabm@gmail.com. Again, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.